Application Engineering Business Logic Assistant. The objective of this functional module is to protect your investment in existing forms and reports applications. Now, there are several motivations why you would consider relocating, re-engineering your PL/SQL business logic in your forms application. Of course, there is always the common understanding of if I centralize my business logic, I can optimize my overall application maintenance and potentially even the performance of the application. I think that's a given already, that this was something very common in the past years. But more over the last months, years, more and more customer approached us regarding to being able to SOA enable to embed their existing forms application into their SOA architecture. And for those scenarios, PITSS.CON, our tool, can provide a very exciting functionality, which I'm going to show you in a few moments here. Of course, the idea of re-engineering the business logic is also of great advantage for those customers considering re-engineering to prepare an application for a possible migration to a new software architecture, like if you migrate from Oracle Forms to ADF or from Forms to Apex or other software development environments. Now, when we talk about relocating business logic, what we mean with re-engineering is relocating the business logic into the database. There are several pros and cons, and I'm sure you find a lot of websites discussing these topics. But we came to the conclusion that a generic decision is not possible. It will always be a case-by-case decision based on the individual business use case about if it's beneficial of pursuing this path or not. We will be more than happy to assist you in that decision based on our experience of various customers and also based on the functionality you will see here in the next few minutes. I'm sure you can make your own assessment how easy it can be to re-engineer your business logic. Now let me switch to the functional module Application Engineering, and I'd like to highlight the functionality based on a very simple application, a forms module that allows you to enter data and calculate a commission. Now that screen includes a button basically that after entering all the employees' data, the user can press this button that is a calculate commission button, and behind that calculate commission button is a certain functionality. When the button press trigger is executed, what you see here, there is a couple of procedures are called, global variables are used to pass on variables, there are select statements in there, and so on. So some of you might say this is not possible to move directly in database because of these dependencies to all these sub-program units or potential libraries, PLLs that are utilized here. But let me show you how easy it is with PITSS.CON. PITSS.CON allows you to calculate the dependencies and show you exactly the hierarchy of the call behind that when button press trigger. So again, we saw the when button press trigger, we saw there is a calculate commission functionality, and we can easily view the code here as well. And inside that calculate commission, there are other procedures that are called. For example, average salary is coming into the calculation, and so on. So what PITSS.CON allows you is to analyze the hierarchy, but also it alerts you of potential issues during a transfer into database. And what these red colors indicate you is that in case of let's say here that there is a functionality behind there that potentially needs to be changed accordingly to that library. Same with update log, but also, now let's save this. When you go to the when button pressed, it also alerts you if there is a built-in an execute query that might not be needed anymore or cannot be called inside the database. So PITSS.CON is providing you the full transparency about how complex or easy it is to move your database, to move your application logic in database. After you have made your selection and choices about what to do with each of these situations, you can very simply press the Transfer Object to Database button, and here I can create a new container. In this case, I would say I would create a calc db package, and I calculate the flow. What's happening now is that this new package is generated in the back end, and you can see the progress here by those objects named that turn gray about the code that is moved into these packages. Let's have a look at what has been generated. Here you see the package, and before we go into the package body, let's have a look in the specification layer. You see all these functions and procedures have been generated, and also what you can very nicely see here is the arguments that have been automatically generated to make the functionality work inside the procedure. Let's have a look at the package body. The package body is also here structured. It also provides you exactly what PITSS.CON has done, how many arguments have been converted, how many global variables, how have been, for example, the global variables been passed through, and so on. And also you see here these different decisions we made, for example, that execute query in this case is no longer necessary or valid, and also what you see that the calls from the libraries have been automatically adjusted to the package name that we have chosen to do. Of course, it is possible also if you decide so to have the libraries, the PLL in a separate libraries, you can always adjust this. You have the full freedom of where to place your code in the package. PITSS.CON will track all the dependencies and will adjust the code accordingly. After the code has been generated, what PITSS.CON allows you as a next step is that if you like, you can even go in the code and generate a web service for this. Here you see the new code that has been generated. I can start the web service wizard. I can select which procedure or function should be exposed to the public. I press next. I can say let's give my database, my local database is Oracle, server host is localhost, and the server host, let's just for demo purposes assume one host here, one port. After I press the finish button, PITSS.CON automatically generates the WSDL language for this web service, and you have the full. You can embed these WSDL items here into your SOA architecture and call these web services from your SOA layer. This is what I was trying to present you, how easy it is to relocate code from the forms modules into the database. And of course there is a lot more functionalities included in this. As I showed you only the object flow complete, you can also decide it program unit by program unit. We have a great functionality and great flexibility embedded in this module, and we are looking forward to discuss the details with you in